Hi John, it's Ceara again. I'm going to do part 2 now of the CA2 for IHSS in the HJ computing. This is going to be the part where I demo the code. So I'm going to begin by talking about the DTB and how this was made and brought together. As I said before, all the groups sat down and pulled together the tags that they believed that we could all share. As the iterations and progress was made, it turned out that there were tags that weren't needed and tags that were needed. So I'll just run through the DTD file on our program here. So this is the version that we're using. This is the path file, or the path that we have to put into the XML to verify or validate against the rules that have been drawn up in this. Rules that we decided on that our root would be patients, and that there had to be 0 or more patients. So our element was a patient who had first name, last name, date of birth, address, phone number, email, PPS, sex. The plus means 1 or more. There has to be a name. First name has to be a last name. There couldn't be a date of birth, or there could. The rules of the DTD state that if the date of birth is there, great, we can take it into our file or into our database. If it's not there, the XML file can still be written because the rule states that it's 0 or more. Also had to bring in other elements that each patient would have, which are medications, appointments, symptoms, healthcare professionals. These are also 0 or more, which means that they do not have to be present for the validation of the XML file. So then we go down, we see data, that means it can pull in any, it's going to be pulling in character data. Most of our rules are 0 or more, until we come down to the healthcare professional, which had to be a first name, and then everything else is 0 or more in order to actually share any information between the groups. So I'm going to move on to the code now. This is the write record to XML code. This was done very much by cooperation. Everybody did a part to move the project on. So at the beginning, my greatest input here was getting the record to write into an array list, and then the ability to print this array list out onto the console. Then from there, it was from pulling the information out of the database into an XML file, writing it to the XML file. We have our parameters that we pulled in here, connection, that's the connection to the database, our array list, which is a patient array list, our GP list, that's for the extra that's going to be completed for part 3, where we have a GP list and we have a medication list. The XML iPop factory, it's creating a new instance of the XML iFactory so as we can refer to it. We wrap everything in a try and catch. This is our prepared statement where we will call to the database and this is our SQL call to the database. We have select these items here from the child table, plus these items here from our GP table, and these items from our immunisation table. That required a join on the child table to the GP practice to the immunisation. This is where the joins occur. Child PPS number, practice ID GP practice, and the ID GP practice, and record immunisation and immunisation. This is a declaration of the result patient to executor query. So we have a while loop here, and while the result patient up here has next in it. We're pulling out our information from our database, putting it into the result patient, or making an instance of the result patient in there, and we're getting the string 3. Patient list.add, this is adding all of this information up here into our patient list, which is our array list. So we've added our first name, last name, date of birth, sex, GP's name, GP's address, which were all taken from the database through the result patient. It's opening a new file writer object, which will direct it to the XML file that we're going to write the information from the database into. The open stream writer as an instance of the output factory. This is the start, so this is our introduction, our start document, which is a UF8 and it's version 1, and it also tells us that it's patients. So then for the patient list, the patient, we're creating a, oh my gosh, what's kind of an array list? And the writer start element, patient 3. So it's pulling on, writing the information from the patient class, which we have constructors in, and calling them into our main code and setting them. This is our setters and getters in here for the variables, which are here. Oops. Here. Oh no, that's the wrong one, sorry. So I'm going to demonstrate the write to the XML file. So I'm going to run. Computer's a little warm, so it's taking a little while to get up and going. I'll talk about the read record while I'm waiting for that. Oh, here we go. So again, this is to read the records from an XML file that we receive in. We have our variables here that are outlined. We have our try and catch statement, so we're entering the path file. So these are our XMLs, and you can copy the path file there. I'll do that in a moment. And then we have a while loop. While the reader has an X, this is opening up the LXStem reader, and an instance of that, or an object of it to get our information from the MXL file. So then we enter an integer embed type, and then we have a switch, and then we come into our P for patient, which has all of the information as above, if the element dot equals PL name, which is coming from our XML file, PL last name equals reader dot get element, and then we set this element to P last name, which relates to our database. So this is from the XLM, this is from our patient class, and this is from our patient class, excuse me John, the P capital LAS is from our patient class, and the PLAS name is to relate to our database. So we're just going to log in now, and we're going to write all records to the XML file, so 4, and then I'm just going to come up to the XML file, and there we have it. Right click and format. So we have written to our XML file from our database. Now I'm going to validate that against the DTD. So we have to go into our DTD, collect the pointer to it, copy that in, save, and then we can right click and validate the XML. And there we are, it's checking, and there's the validation has finished. So if we go back to the CA IHSS, IHSS, so we'll just go up here and we can see that we're going to do now number 5, read in XML details to the database. So we go to number 5, hit enter. Please enter the path of the file. So I'm going to take Sive, Damien and Anthony's XML file. Going to put the path file in, going to enter, and there we are. We have written their information into our database. Now if we go into our database, we can see in our child tables, again apologies, my computer is very warm and it's very slow, that Martin Kelly and Sean Connery have been put in. These nulls are there because otherwise we wouldn't have been able to read into our database, because they're required to be there. And if we go back to the code or to our Java, we can read something else in, the 5, and we'll read James's group in. So this is the XML file that they sent to us. I'm going to copy the path file from here. I'm going to enter that, and again we can see it is written to the console that we have entered Mick, Elvie and Elvira. And again if we go back to the local host, we'll go into the GP practice and see if it has uploaded. Yeah, Ryan, Dave, Ryan, Dave are in there. If we go back to the child table now, I'm sure we have Mick, Elvie and Elvira. And in the immunization tables, we have the medications that we have called in from Dave and Roy and from Bob. And if we go back to the code for our last section, we are now going to just read all, view all guardians, or sorry, view all child, so it's 3. Please enter 1 for guardian, 2 for child. And if we scroll up, we can see that it reads everybody that we've put in. Sean, Mick, Elvie, Elvira. From our database. Oopsie. Martin, Sean, Mick, Elvie, Elvira. From our database that we've read in from the others XML file. Okay, thank you very much, John. And that's the end of my screencast. Bye.